Welcome everyone, Mate Talk time. Good to be before you all. Argentina lost. I don't want to talk about it. We're just going to move on. But good to be before you all, and I'm hoping you have a great drink. And let's begin. Two announcements. One, really quickly, is that at the end of this, I will be spinning the wheel for the Penhaligons winner. Congratulations to everyone who participated, and it'll be exciting to see who's going to win today. In October, I will be announcing the new fragrance tour that will be happening in 2027. Anyway, I'll go into it because there's a few things that I want to sort of branch out from there. Boom. Now, I've been testing, and today's episode is really about talking about fragrances that I've been testing and my thoughts against them. Now, here's my disclaimer, so you guys don't judge me too hard with my comments I'm about to say. So number one, I don't know what the notes are. Some of it can be imagination sometimes. I can smell something so I don't know what the notes are other than the feeling that I get. Do I like it? These are the sort of questions that I ask myself. Does it resonate with me? How does it fit within my collection, and how does it fit now within the storylines that I need to create for the channel, blah, blah, blah. So that's the first disclaimer. Secondly, some of these brands I really love, and so just as from a bias point of view, it comes through. And the last part is I would love to get your input. So if you are familiar with these particular fragrances, I'd love to hear your thoughts on it. These are pretty much winners, and in the sense that I can see myself getting them into on the collection and also part of the channel's conversation. Boom, let me begin. So, brand that I have just like gone a little bit extra on is Parfum d'Empire. I've really been enjoying their fragrances. Lately, I've had a few people reach out to me and say there are others that you should check out, and these are two that I have been testing. The first one is Cuir Ottoman. It took me a while. I was about to say nomad. No, anyway, Cuir Ottoman, which is Ottoman leather, basically. Man, I love this. Holy cow. Can you see, I have destroyed this. I mean, there's one that I'm wearing today that I've destroyed the sample. I don't have any more. But this thing here has just been obliterated. This has been perfect for winter. This is just a gorgeous winter fragrance. It's just been, I don't know how we would wear in summer. I think it might be a bit heavy in summer, whereas for this cool weather we're having here, it's just magical. The essence of it is, and again, I don't know what the notes are, but I'm going to give you what I'm getting from it. The essence of it is what is it, a Turkish leather or an Ottoman leather or something of that nature. When I first sort of grabbed it, I did think that it might have some spices in there, so a bit more sort of oriental. That's not the case. If anything, if I can describe it quickly, it is a very suede, supple leather, but with the most glorious iris. And that's a big call from me because I love Pelle Viola. I love the iris that we've placed in Pelle Viola. There is something really, really exquisite from this iris here. But again, look, I'm pretty confident. I'm going to say 100% that there is iris in here. It has this lipstick powdery effect. It has this touch floral. It just makes that supple, that leather come through in such a beautiful way. The one thing about it though, it's not a leather fragrance. So if I go back to my Pelle Viola, Pelle Viola is a beautiful balance between these two elements with the leather and the iris and that sort of earthiness. Whereas I find that Cuir Ottoman is a lot more iris leaning. The leather is a little bit on the opening, but it really sort of pulls itself back in place of the iris. Iris really, I feel, dominates here. Again, as I said, disclaimer, maybe there's not a drop of iris in here, but this is what I'm getting. I'm getting a powdery effect. But I'm telling you, there's iris in here. It actually reminds me, so I'm down deep in the dry down here. Reminds me of another beautiful fragrance by Dora, which is Velvet Iris. And I love that fragrance also. The difference with Velvet Iris is that it does have almost like a boozy effect on that opening. There's a lot more going on, whereas here, this is like sophisticated. This is a dress-up fragrance. This is, just, you know, you're just so well put together. You know, you're really like, it's a really beautiful fragrance to wear. When it opens, and I did write this, I get a very, and when I first experienced it, I get a very heavy animalic nature from the fragrance. And almost to the point where I'm like, oh yeah, this is Marc Antoine. He has this sort of very, not Alessandro Gualtieri style of animalics, you know, really robust, but he definitely has this very intense animalic nature to it, to the point where it made me think of both civet and oud. So it has a very strong sort of presence on that opening, and this is why I thought it was going to be a lot more leather forward fragrance. But in fact, that probably 20 minutes in begins to pull itself back. The iris begins to sort of come through, this powdery effect, or this the floral earthy element of that iris comes through, and then finally when you're deep in the dry down, which I am now, it's just this gorgeous powdery iris. For those people who love iris fragrance, I'd strongly recommend check this baby out. This will be one that because I need to create a iris sort of episode, and I'm going to say, again, I'm going to put money, there is iris in here, because I'm getting a very strong iris forward fragrance. The next one that I've been testing, which is not working, I mean, it's beautiful. This is Yuzu Fu, which Fu I believe means mad, so Yuzu mad. This is gorgeous, not the perfect fragrance for cool weather. This I think is going to be absolutely resplendent during summer. So nice heat, the sweat and the citrus elements of it would just be glorious. It's been nice in cool weather, so it's been nice. So I have this bad habit, which really is a good habit, to drain my batteries. Hence why. I knew it was flashing at me, but I'm like, you know what? I'm going to just drain this thing, and then I'll be back. So the Yuzu Fu, it's I think this is the most realistic Yuzu fragrance on the market. Yuzu has become a bit of a favorite note at the moment. Everybody's sort of exploring this, including my good friend Kevin. I find that a lot of the Yuzu is being mixed in with other things, so it has other elements to it. Whereas I find here, Marc Antoine has really respected that Yuzu profile. I'm familiar with the fruit, or the citrus. I haven't sort of picked this, so I'm not that familiar with it in nature as such, but I am familiar with, things that are flavored with it, etc. It reminds me of Paris Monte Carlos and their Italian range, where they really respect the note. And in particular, Cedro di Diamante by Luca Maffei, where it's a really beautiful respect of that Cedro note, which I am familiar with. So the Yuzu here, it opens extremely robust and really intense and dense. You can almost feel the fruit in your hand. It has this, where a lot of the Yuzu fragrances, and I'm going to talk about another one in just a second, where they start with that sort of citrusy, but it doesn't really give me a feeling for the Yuzu fruit, whereas here I really feel like I'm holding the actual Yuzu in my hand. Where I am now, and this is the other thing too, so when it opens, it has this like really sharp, really dense fruit, this intensely lemony, citrusy sort of feeling to it, but with a green piece, and there's almost like a mint that is in the background. There's this sort of green minty sort of expression to it, and mint also has a touch of that green cannabis element, and so I'm also getting that yuzu, the citrus, with that minty, with that touch of green cannabis. And there's all these different sort of things that are beginning to evolve on that opening. Then as it settles down where I am now, you are getting a lot more of the lemony sort of yuzu citrus element of it, but now with more of these green pieces coming through. But it never goes into anything, doesn't go into a new territory. Whereas Cuir Ottoman really starts here and moves there, and then it sort of settles itself into this beautiful iris. I find that Yuzu Fu, where it is what it is. It starts with a much more intensity. You can feel, like I said, almost the fruit in your hand, and then it begins to sort of wash itself down a little. It's still quite pronounced. In the cooler weather, it's getting sort of drowned out. I don't think it's pushing off my skin as much. I think in summer it'll be absolutely glorious. Let me just see if oh yeah. I did say that, and again, going back to Paris Monte Carlos, the Italian collection, they also have another one, which is the Bergamot, another Luca Maffei creation. And Bergamot, it over time begins to almost get like a floral aspect to it, these floral elements. And I find the same thing happens here at the 20-minute mark. So like as it begins to sort of dry down, you're getting these sort of more lighter floral elements coming through. But when it's fully dried down, I mean green and a touch citrus. Yeah, green, it has these greens, so I'm hungry. I'm trying to move through this so that I can get a bite to eat, and then I'll keep moving through. Anyway, last one. So the last one, and then I'll stop. Now, a further disclaimer. The brand Sora, I'm a big fan of. All right, so this is the full collection of the Discovery series. The new one that's come out, which is Raphael, I've used up the whole thing. So this was one that and it could be, so here's the thing. It could be the fact that I do love the brand. It could be the fact that they're part of the tour. It could be the fact that somehow this fragrance just resonated with me. And I'll go one more, because Lubu was intensely intense, that it just took me a while to understand it and sort of cross the line. Whereas I came at it this time around, Raphael, with a little bit of, not apprehension, but a little bit of, I was very careful and tentative. And on that first spray, I'm like, whoa, this is something quite appealing and something quite ensnaring. And I've just become addicted. Last part to it is that the days that I've been wearing it as my fragrance, that I'm getting constant responses from Sandra. Sandra is always like, whoa, that is really good. And a number of times she's actually leaned in, and Sandra is quite expressive and amorous. So she'll lean in and smell. And so for me, this has now become a win. So again, as a disclosure, Raphael will be part of the collection. What is it doing? What other notes? I don't know. Other than the fact that it gives me, and I wrote here, okay, it's airy, so it has this airiness, but it's also, it's airy, but aromatic. So it has this airiness about it, but I'm getting these aromatic feelings to the fragrance, meaning things like, so think of your classic aromatic notes, which are, your lavenders, your herbals, your coriander seeds, and things of that nature. So it has this airiness, but at the same time it has this aromatic feel. It does remind me of classic masculine fragrances, things that I love wearing. And actually, just as I moved, I got it then, because I'm wearing it again, so the last of it today. Actually, here's another one. It reminds me of a really good designer fragrance, but the complexity of it leans into its niche profile. So it's not linear, and it's like on one spray it is what it is. I'm getting all these other. Sorry, I don't know if I'm banging my mic by doing that. Sorry, but I'm getting all these other aspects of it. Second, it's ethereal, so it almost feels like it's ozonic and part of the nature, but it's very present. Just like then, as I moved forward, it sort of emerged. It emerged, and I could sense it again. And here's the clincher. It's masculine, but there are some feminine softness to it. A woman can easily wear this. Unfortunately, I did not give this to Sandra, so I'll be buying the bottle, but she didn't test it, so I haven't smelt it on her. But there is a softer element to this fragrance that I can see a woman comfortably wearing. I go back, Lubu, super intense. You have to really like mentally be prepared to jump on in with that particular fragrance. You also have to like particular elements, you know, more robust and very intense. Whereas here, the fragrance is highly charismatic. There are some easy notes in here that you could just appreciate. What are the notes? I don't know. But what I do get is, again, as it dries down, I do get a herbal piece to this fragrance. And I even thought yesterday, my brain almost went like, is that rosemary? So they're like a rosemary or some kind of green herbal with a touch of woody aspects to it. Oh, I'm gonna fan myself again. And there's the aromatic, so like a lavender. This is so I was wearing it yesterday. It was infiltrating my dreams. I could smell it throughout the night. It was on my body. It actually, again, I go back to that being, what did I say, airy, but no, ethereal but present. So it feels like it just leaves you. But I was wearing it for 12 plus hours. I was, you know, throughout the night, I could smell the fragrance. It was now, I was deeper into the actual presence, so the wearing of the fragrance, and I was still smelling it. One thing I do love about what Sora Dora does here, I'll just open this baby up, is that the actual sprayers are really, really good. And so it gives you, sometimes I find some sprayers are a little bit, they just do that sort of squirty squirt, whereas here you're getting a proper spray as if you had the bottle, and so you're getting a nice spread of the fragrance, and you can wear it comfortably. Yeah, there's good presence with it. It makes me think of, so Raphael, what is that about? I know that Quentin connects a lot of stuff to his family and to his, I mean, there's the fragrance Gresque, actually on that. So during the tour this year, we will be going to the town of Gresque. This is where his great-great-grandfather, I think it was, who actually first arrived into France, started his life, and then that's how the family, you know, all became French, essentially. So the storyline, so we're going to Gresque. I know that he connects a lot of these things to his memory, so I'm going to say Raphael is somebody in his family. To me, it makes me think of the angel Raphael, and also the way the fragrance performs is also in that sort of angelic, otherworldly. Anyway, highly charismatic. I do look forward to understanding who the perfumer is. I have no idea. I'd love to understand. Also, I'm going to start to break down the notes and give you a much more cleaner breakdown into the fragrance. I don't think I did it. Well, the bottom line is this: I would test it. One thing that I would recommend is you can use the code NFC10. There is this particular box that is there. This is now the 11. I did notice that there's a 14, so I'm going to be doing a new discovery series because I need to include Lubu, and I will be Raphael in that mix too. So anyway, NFC 10, you can get a 10% discount. I think you also get a free delivery. I'd recommend to you test out Raphael. It's more than worth it. Bop. All right, I'll be back. I'm going to cut, and then I'll be right back. I'm back. So I purposely stopped also because the next 4 that I'm going to talk about have proven to be very punchy fragrances. And as I mentioned with Raphael, I can't smell it anymore. So the ones that are on me now, these next 4, are quite dominant when it comes to their presence and their strength. All right, the first one I'm going to talk to you about is a brand that I've been banging on quite a bit about. These guys is Room 1015. I discovered them in a lot more detail when I was in Cannes last year. I met up with Dr. Michael. Awesome guy, he's a musician, etc. And yeah, I've really been loving all his fragrances. They are a lot more crowd pleasing. So the one that I'll tell you about in a minute that is quite unique. But they're a lot more crowd pleasing. They're making some really good fun fragrances. Wave Child, I've talked about this quite insistently really love it. Love-O-Matic, just that is just an incredible, gorgeous fragrance. One that they've just come out with, which is called Wasabi Klub. It's a win. It's a win, full stop. It's a super cool fragrance, fun to wear, unisex. I'm getting, when I'm wearing it, one, my brain's going, oof, you smell good. I get responses from people around me. I love that also. Now, I've never smelled Ingenious Ginger, but I know that that's getting a lot of airplay. And it does make me think a little bit of what that could smell like. And so I am using my imagination, but only because it's got ginger and there's a freshness and all that sort of stuff. Whereas here, Wasabi Klub plays on a very similar sort of vein. When it opens, it does have a very zesty citrus with this ginger-like effect, but not quite ginger. So I'm gonna say it's wasabi. And I don't even know if you can actually extract wasabi or whether it's just a constructed note. Either way, I'm gonna say that there is that kind of, and it does make me think of freshly grated wasabi. So when you get the chance to go to Japan, they yes, you can get those little sachets like you get around the world, but they actually grate fresh wasabi, and there's a lemony, citrusy, gingery sort of sparkle from that particular wasabi. It's gorgeous, and that's what I get here. I do get that very sort of gingery, citrusy, fun, energetic, like life's about to start. It has great push. That's the other thing I wrote here. It's a great push. It's vibrant, it's energetic. For me, it's an instant hit. I think this is going to be a winner for the brand. Actually, of late, they've been creating some fun fragrances that are just super appealing, and they're not. I don't find that they're linear at all. So they're quite where they begin and how they move, in different places. But they are. And it almost sounds like this is a bad thing. They're mass appealing, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. They're not going for, super avant-garde and you have to be in the right mindset to enjoy. This is just easy reach. It's a fun brand. I think it's also when it comes to their price points, they're super engaging. They're easy to access. Anyway. Wasabi Klub, I'd recommend this one. This one here, I think, is going to be a hit. This is perfect for summertime. It's summer fun. It's a dress up or dress down. And it is working in cool weather. So, like I said, the Yuzu Fu, I think, is going to be better in winter, in the summer. Right now, it's not doing that great. Whereas Wasabi Klub is just brilliant and fun to wear. Just a cool fragrance. I did write one last thing. Okay, yeah. So when it dries down, so it starts off with those citrusy and gingery sort of effect on that opening. When it dries down, it does seem to have that sort of clean vibe that Love-O-Matic has. So when Love-O-Matic sort of moves through, it does have this sort of clean laundry, clean. Yeah, not necessarily clean skin, and it's not necessarily musky either, but it has this clean sort of, I don't know, aldehyde or ozonic nature to it. And I find the same thing happens here. And I do get like a touch, I don't know if it's waxy, but there's a something, like it's a clean element that is in there. Anyway, cool fragrance, fun to wear, and one that I can see will be on so that's one that there's going to be a big tick on. Now, the next one that is weird is Poppy Riot. Now, this one here, I'm glad that they've created something a little bit different. So where Wasabi Klub is just like a pop, it's a win. Poppy Riot is, so what I actually wrote here, at first, no. Like, no, this is for me. And then slowly it's been growing on me. And I do like fragrances that sort of have me guessing in the beginning, at the start. And then slowly I sort of start going, oh, let me see what it's like. And then as it begins to dry down, it does, its own little magic. And then all of a sudden some people, or, as I'm wearing it, they're like, oh, well, you smell, that's unusual. What are you wearing? And so all of those things, all these pieces that come together that make me want to explore it deeper and give it another chance, essentially. So Poppy Riot, for me, it's saffron. Okay, so because my brain instantly on first spray, I'm like, oh, leather, but it's not leather, and there was all these different things. 100%, I'm going to put money on it. There is saffron here. I'm getting the spiciness. I'm getting that leathery effect. I am getting a herbal element to it, and I do think of a plant. I think of like a floral of some sort. The fact that it's called poppy, I think, is there? No, poppy is not saffronish. Anyway, anyway, it does have that leathery sort of effect to it. And I think that's the part that has me a little bit destabilized. It does make you also think of crystal saffron. So where crystal saffron is very sharp and very almost, it's a touch metallic and aggressive. Here, it's a lot more leathery, oriental, floral, leathery, you know, those pieces there. When it dries down, this is where I am now, it's a lot softer. It opens up, I think, a little bit pretty harsh, and this is why it makes me think of crystal saffron. It does have a very similar herbal, sort of in-your-face sort of saffron appeal to it, but when it begins to dry down, it does become a lot softer. I did see that Demi Rawling was maybe the face of this particular fragrance. I know that she was promoting it, so I don't know whether this is her fragrance. So is it a feminine leaning sort of concept, you know, perhaps? I think a man can easily wear this because of the leathery effect, the herbal effect, those sort of, you know, oriental elements of it. And now on dry down, there's almost like a berry sweetness that I'm in now. There's a touch of sweetness, which is now, I feel, aligned to the brand. Of late, I have noticed at Room 1015, I really sort of exploring the sweet notes, you know, delivered by like a fruit or something of that nature. So it does have like a fruity sort of appeal and sweetness there. And as I said, where I am now, it's a super comfortable fragrance to wear. So this is one question mark. It does have big push. It does have great presence. I'd say compared to Cuir Ottoman. So when I was doing it before I started. So that slight leathery effect. But now if you go, and it's interesting, where before I was saying that I wasn't getting any leather at all. When I compare these two here, there is a suede leather supple effect on Cuir Ottoman with that powderiness, and again, I'm going to put it down, there's iris here, with that powderiness, that sort of, you know, floral earthiness of the iris. And I go back, sensational fragrance, big recommendation for Cuir Ottoman. Poppy. Poppy's a slow burn. We'll see how we land on this, but it's interesting. I'm glad that, again, going back to Room 1015, I'm glad that they're going in a different direction where Wasabi, instant hit, great fragrance to wear, a lot of fun. And also it's a little bit different, you know, that Wasabi, ginger, not quite ginger. It's actually, yeah, I like it. It works really well. All right, next one. This one's another winner. So Pernoire are on a bit of a success streak, I think. Anello has been a great hit for the brand. This is a brand that I, again, also discovered in Cannes last year, I've just been enjoying. They have Room 1015 seemed to be very youthful, appealing, you know. I find that Pernoire have got some really unique fragrances, like take Melos, for instance, which is like kind of weird, but works really well. And then they've got some clean hitting fragrances, like take Polka, even take Anello and things like that. This one here, Yuma, this is another hit. So from what I understand, and because they love to break up their words in the keynotes that are in the fragrance, I'm going to say is Yuzu and menta or mint, and that's what you get. On opening, you are getting a very clear citrus and mint element to it. Now it's interesting, as I said before, take Yuzu Fu, where this is now in my opinion, a pure expression of yuzu and what the yuzu fruit should smell like, how it behaves in nature. Marc Antoine has really, I feel, really respected that. Whereas here, Yuma is more of a playful. There's Yuzu in here, it could even be constructed as opposed to actually extracted. It's fun. It did make me think of Anello, so just instantly grabbing you and just let's just grabs you by the hand and takes you to the beach, and so let's just go have some fun together. The interesting thing, the fragrance does have great evolution. So where you begin, this yuzu and mint and vibrant and citrusy and perky and peppy and all that sort of stuff, as it then sort of dries down and moves through, it does make me think of vibrato. So it has a vibrato style of sort of dry down. Vibrato goes a little bit on the sour side of things, whereas here there is a sweetness that remains throughout the fragrance. Super inviting. Another one, I think these guys have got a hit on their hand. I think Anello really sort of demonstrated this sort of fun, playful, citrusy, joyous sort of fragrance, and I think this one here is in that same sort of vein. Not I think, this one here is in the same sort of vein, and I think they've got another hit on their hand. Let's have a look. I wrote here, the dry down is gorgeous. Yes, citrus, a touch floral, minty, herbal. It has good longevity, has 8+ hours without a problem. The only catch, the only downside is sometimes, this is me being critical, okay, so just take it with a grain of salt. That I just, similar to what Room 1015 did, Wasabi Klub, Poppy Riot. Wasabi Klub is a hit. Poppy Riot, slightly different, kind of weird. You got to grow into. I look forward to Pernoire coming out with the next thing that's a little bit different. I did like what Dora did to Lubu. Was like, forget about it. That was bizarre. That was weird. That not necessarily alienated people, but definitely made them go like, well, this is not what I was expecting. I didn't sign up for this sort of thing. Whereas they've come out with Raphael and it's a win. So I'm hoping that Pernoire, and everybody, you do you, just, they've got a hit on the hand with Yuma. But it almost feels like they're playing it safe. So, I don't mean to be critical. It's not meant to be a critical comment. I'm just sort of just saying that it would be, anyway, it's a win. The bottom line is I would check it out. Not a clean expression of Yuzu as opposed to the Parfum d'Empire, but a fun fragrance for summer. It's going to work. I already know it. Okay, last one. This is a brand from France. The guy reached out to me. His name is Jacob. He's a perfumer. He sent me this, and I'm very grateful. Thank you, Jacob. You're very kind. I do appreciate that. And he let me explore his brand. Really impressive when it comes to the display and everything else. The one that's really popped for me is this one here called Asanti. Now, what I like about this fragrance is it makes me think of a wine barrel. And it gives me, I almost feel like I've been teleported to another time. Think of something like in the Renaissance. Think of something like in the medieval. It actually makes me even think of the town of San Gimignano. I did mention previously that we had an opportunity to live in San Gimignano for 6 days. Not necessarily, we were tourists, don't get me wrong, but we stayed in one of the towers within San Gimignano. And there were candles everywhere. The Airbnb person, did a really good job to give you a feeling like you were back in medieval time. Candles everywhere. There was a great sort of vibe. And Asanti is the fragrance that you would be wearing in this sort of scenario. There's a deep red wine element to it. There is as it dries down, that you do get a waxy feel to the actual fragrance. When it opens, it has this beautiful booziness that is rich and decadent. I do get a touch of a rose or something sort of floral in that aspect. I do think that there would be a rose, or there would be some sort of floral in here, and I do get a sort of that like a rose that's been drowned in wine, essentially, and surrounded by woodiness. And I do get that slight waxy sort of element to it. Now, of the 4 fragrances that I have on me after I did the cut, I asked Hannah which one did she, what was her opinions on each of them. Like I mentioned, Wasabi and Yuma, they were just wins. Poppy was, it's interesting, and actually said it reminded her of something else, which I'm gonna say it is a little bit esque of that crystal saffron, that saffron sort of feel. Again, I'm putting it down, there's saffron in there. But the one that she really resonated with was with Asanti. She did say that she was detecting like a vanilla or a sweetness. I don't get, my brain just says wine barrel, sort of red wine soaked wood. And I just can't seem to grab the vanilla element of it. I'm not saying it's not there. Again, I don't know what there probably is, it probably is absolute vanilla. And Hannah should do her own channel. But I do get a very deep red wine grape, that's sort of like big succulent with a touch of that rosy. It's great. Asanti, big recommendation. Actually, this is one that I wanted to explore. It will lead me to the next part because I want to talk about being in Paris. And I believe that Jaxob is in Paris. So there you have it, testing. For those people who may have had a chance to experience any of these fragrances, I'd love to get your thoughts and correct me if I've been wrong. I was a bit nervous at the start and the end, saying because I don't like saying a note that doesn't exist, because then obviously I look like I don't know what I'm doing. But these are the feelings that I'm getting. So correct me. I'm happy for you to put it down and say, I don't know what you're talking about. There's no whatever. There's something else in there. There's another brand, and actually these guys reached out to me. Santi Burgas. This is the white collection. I haven't opened it yet, so it's a house from Spain. If anybody knows about them, I'd love you to tell me, because I saw the white. There's a number of fragrances in here. If you are familiar with it, tell me which one I should explore, and I will test that first, and that'll help me out a lot. There it is. Boom. So that's my testing for the week. Testing is something that I love doing, because I love exploring different fragrances. And actually, I'm just looking across, there's a lot of others that I'm testing. But I'd love to, these are the ones that resonated with me, but I'd love you guys to tell me other things to explore. And that leads me to, I'm gonna be in Europe soon. So one thing that we lack here in this country is a vast array of fragrances to get. I do have to either jump online to get some samples and stuff, or wait until I'm overseas. So we're about to start the fragrance tour. I will be in Paris for 2 days. Give me some suggestions of things that you would like. If for whatever reason you might be in Paris on the 17th and 18th, let me know. I'm happy to catch up. We can go to Javoy or go to a location that you love, and love to explore that with you guys. I know there's a lot of new boutiques that have opened up throughout Paris, and I look forward to exploring those. So 17th, 18th of September, sorry, I didn't say that. So 17th, 18th of September, I will be there. I do have some meetings, but I will make sure to make myself available if you guys are available too. All right. So the last part of this is that the fragrance tour is about to start very soon. It's mid-September. We're going to be in the south of France. It actually sold out really fast. I was super impressed, considering that we were trialing a new sort of concept, and that was, it's a 3.5 day, and we wanted 14 guests to join us on that. It sold out in 2 months. We had a 6-month window, and in 2 months it sold out. So deep discussions right now with a number of brands for the new tour. I won't say the location just yet, because some of these brands have landed, which is exciting. I will be meeting with them in Cannes. Once all that is pretty much on path, then I will announce in October the new tour that is happening in September 2027, okay? Now, what I'd love to know is, don't know actually, other than, Actually, so the next tour that we're about to do is going to be a 5-day tour, and it will be, we're going to go back to our small group, meaning 8 to 10 people, absolute maximum. Actually, I think this is what I wanted to know. Tell me if you're available. So even though you don't know costs yet and all that sort of stuff, if you look at our website, you get an idea of what our costing is. We want to keep everything the same, meaning that we like staying in nice properties. We do like eating in nice places, and so from a costing point of view, it's pretty similar. But I'm actually So I'm actually thinking of doing perhaps a back-to-back tour, because we sold out so quickly on this tour that we just did. We had a number of people still reaching out to us. We even had a local magazine, reach out and say, we'd like to do a cover story on you, blah, blah, blah. And they had to pull the pin on it because we sold out on the tour. So I'm actually thinking next year do a back-to-back. So we're thinking maybe mid-September, and then do a couple of days break, and then start again. It's sort of around the 20th or something like that. Anyway, I guess what I'm asking is, those who might be interested, tell me if September next year is something that is on your radar. Not knowing what pricing is, yada yada, but give me a feeling for what who might be interested. I will announce the location. We're going to a whole new location, by the way. So we've done Italy in the past, we've done France in the past. We're doing something brand new. So there is a new location that I've been hunting, that I've been wanting to do for quite some time, actually. Look for it. It will be in Europe, by the way. It is. We are still going to Europe. So that's that. So anyway, yeah. So let me know. I'm curious to hear your thoughts on this matter. And now this. It didn't happen. I was meant to have received an email from the Libertine team with the names and also number of bottles purchased, and so number of entries essentially. I didn't get it. So I know in town is David Benedict from BDK Perfumes, and I think they are pretty busy. I've seen some posts. I've seen that they're doing events with him, and so I think that the marketing team are actually busy there. So next week, if you can just wait, I'd like to do it live I always love spinning the wheel live. So next week, I promise that we will spin the wheel. I'll have the information by then, and we can see who won the bottle of Bold Blend or Oh, the Audacity. Thanks everyone, hope you enjoyed the testing. I've already watched the whole video and super happy with my comments. And I was saying to Hannah, she picked up on that vanilla. She should have her own channel. And because I honestly, I even smelt it again, and I'm like, man, all I get from Asanti is that beautiful, wine barrel and everything else. I still don't pick up the vanilla, I have to be honest with you. I'm still not like, vanilla is a very particular note in my brain, but the wine element is really sort of dominating it. Anyway, beautiful fragrance, one that I would recommend. Thanks everyone, we'll see you guys all on the next Mate Talk. Bye.